Motocross. This is the real deal as it happened in the early 70s. Fellow riders, bikers, race fans, historians, veterans, and wannabe hot shoes. This is about the legends and superstars of motocross as it was in 1973. This is Motocross Raw. I'm Chuck Clay, and this film is for you. This is about one of the racers featured in this film are still alive and actively engaged in the sport in one way or another. Spectators. However, the progression of the sport from cross-country to a closed course would allow fans to watch the action at all times. Now, there are many fans of motocross around the world that have become addicted to this adrenaline-pumping sport. Racers featured here are but a smattering of a much larger picture occurring in those early years. According to Bruce Brown, producer of On High Jumps of the Day, were extremely dangerous as the bikes were quite good, but to a point. And not too well thought out racetracks of the day were taken in stride, and the sport just kept growing. Until that day, the Treasure Coast Raceway had never experienced anything like professional motorcycle racing. The parking lot was full. The grounds were full of camp vans. Vendors were selling t-shirts and accessories. The pits were anywhere you could fit your camper. Vans were everywhere, not to mention the honeys, wives. I was amazed to see so much riders from all over the state, with dealer sponsors as well, like Kawasaki, Yamaha, Bultaco, CZ, and others, painted on campers and large cargo trucks. They were tuning their bikes, filling up with gas. I soon realized that the big guns of the sport were here too, already famous film crews on hand, except possibly a journalist or two. Heats or moto being called, so I could change gladiators at the time over the soft sand. As I have found no traceable history, I have not been able to find any information on the riders, and will be added to this work in progress. The film will clue me in. Able to capture in one film at least riders who went on to become the who's who in the industry. As though I was a part of something. I had meetings covering as many riders as possible. I even strolled out onto the decks of Ron Stockman, Mark Blackwell, Barry Higgins, Mike Runyard, Bob Grossi, Gary Collins, and of course Brad Lackey, Jimmy Weiner, and Jimmy Ellis, until I was shooed away so the race could start. What you're about to see is like a high-power, all-out, world-class performance exhibition. Ranking propelled these already accomplished riders ridden by Bob Grossi. Days of motocross in the United States during the late 1961 American 500cc stranglehold on the Trans-AMA Tour, along with John DeSoto, Billy Clements, and Mark Flying Dutchman, a pioneer in training and racecraft National Championship Series, and also was winner of the inaugural motocross and supercross rider in the early years of the sport in the United States. In the 1970s, he won 22. Brad Lackey received sponsorship from a local CZ dealer, and by 1971, he finished second in the AMA 500cc Motocross National Championship, or AMA 500cc National Championship. Injuries began to take their toll, and he retired during the days of motocross in America. Known to his fans as the Flying Hawaiian, John was Jimmy Ellis, whose fame and accomplishments were to come several years later at the Los Angeles Coliseum, which was televised. Showed up to film the event and exposed would-be American fans to the European stars who dominated the sport. Although a Swede won the race on a Husky, CZ's American rider, Barry Higgins, became an underdog hero to a national audience. Was a Swedish-born rider who helped usher in the sport of motocross in America in the late 1960s. Wyman Pretty was an open-class hero, preferring to ride the larger 500cc class over the small. Marty Tripes was a leading AMA motocross and supercross rider of the 1970s and early 1980s. Gary Simix was racing nearly full-time at the age of 14, and at 16 he was practically unbeatable in the open expert class contest. Thorwaldsen was involved in the formative days of motocross and was an established veteran of motorcycle racing. He had cut his teeth in the desert and dirt tracks of California. I hope you've enjoyed this blast out of the past, this ghost race during the startup year, as it seems truly does have authentic racing action, which, after all, these are the history makers and the ones who fought their way through to greatness